Trump has been long known to weaponize the power of the government against people he doesn't like. But now it's being done against people within his own right-wing circle, creating a MAGA infighting that doesn't appear to be stopping anytime soon. My name is Dina Doll with the MeidasTouch Network. Let's get into this. Now, both Tucker Carlson and apparently Joe Kent, the recently resigned director of National Counterterrorism Center, are under investigation. Apparently, it is because they both have said things that Trump doesn't like. We have seen Trump do this, of course, with students, with businesses, with Democratic journalists, but usually not against his own. This is creating havoc within MAGA and who will win, or perhaps they'll tear that whole house down. Now, first, Tucker Carlson came out on his show and said that he'd heard reports that the CIA had been reading his texts and were preparing a criminal indictment because apparently he had communicated with people in Iran before the Iranian strikes. Take a listen.
So the other day I found out that the CIA is preparing some kind of criminal referral against me, a crime report to the Department of Justice on the basis of a supposed crime I committed. What's that crime? Well, talking to people in Iran before the war. They read my texts. So the crime under consideration apparently would be the Foreign Agent Act or something like that, acting as an agent of a foreign power.
Now, Tucker Carlson may or may not be accurate about his claim, but his claim is that they are preparing this criminal referral. I mean, the fact is, Tucker Carlson is a journalist. You may or may not like what he reports, but he was on Fox News and now he has his own show and he regularly interviews people and gives opinions. Lately, they have been critical opinions of Trump. He speaks a lot, very like Marjorie Taylor Greene now, where neither of them say that Trump is really and truly MAGA, that he is not America first. Well, apparently Trump doesn't seem to like that, because if indeed he did communicate with somebody in Iran, I mean, of course it would depend on the context of the communication, but a journalist is allowed to interview people anywhere, regardless if a war is going to start or not. I mean, Trump has been talking about striking Iran for a very long time, but not be surprising for any journalist who tried to get feedback about what somebody was saying in Iran. Of course, this is Tucker Carlson, so we have to take it all with a grain of salt. But the most important thing is the reaction it is creating within the MAGA world, and it is certainly creating a MAGA division. Candace Owen, after that clip came out, said, "If they come for Tucker, we ride at dawn." Really nothing else to say here. So she is on the side of Tucker Carlson. Meghan McCain coming out forcefully against Tucker, saying, "Secretly communicating with an enemy of the United States during an active war conflict makes you a traitor in my book, full stop." I mean, she's saying this after he's saying that he's a criminal referral. So calling somebody a traitor, which is actually a legal crime, pretty extreme on her part, especially because she has no idea either what the communications are, if they really truly are journalistic. So much so that the readers added context on this post. Now, this post was on X. X, as we know, is mostly a cesspool still of MAGA, thanks to Elon Musk. I mean, there's certainly a lot of us journalists on there too. But this isn't exactly a liberal social media platform. But they still put a reader context on that Meghan McCain quote saying, "When a journalist wishes to interview a subject, they must communicate with said subject in order to request and coordinate the interview." Basically, if he's a journalist, it applies, regardless if you perhaps like their opinion. At the end of the day, we have the First Amendment, and the First Amendment applies to all journalists. But it's not just Tucker Carlson. As we know, Joe Kent made a huge splash when he resigned his post, saying that Iran did not pose an imminent threat. Now, he posted his resignation letter on X and received about 92 million views on X in one day, over 800,000 likes after 24 hours. That kind of traction on X is almost impossible unless you're Elon Musk himself, because Elon Musk controls the algorithm and makes sure everybody sees his post. That is astounding numbers on that platform. The fact is, again, that platform is not a liberal platform. So it's not just Democrats who perhaps are relieved to hear there is somebody who also believes that Trump is just bringing us into war for no reason, into this illegal war for no reason. Smalls cat food is protein-packed recipes made with preservative-free ingredients you'd find in your fridge, and it's delivered right to your door. That's why Cats.com named Smalls their best overall cat food. Now, I tried to get my cat in this ad because every time I turn on the camera, she usually always tries to get in the view. I always say I think she's trying to go viral, but you know how cats are. The minute you want them to do something, they do the exact opposite. Now, starting with Smalls is easy. Just share info about your cat's diet, health, and food preferences. Then Smalls puts together a personalized sampler for your cat. No more picking between random brands at the store. Smalls has the right food to satisfy any cat's craving. Still not a believer in Smalls? Forbes ranked Smalls the best overall cat food, while BuzzFeed said, my cats went completely ballistic for this stuff. For me, I have to also give my cat medicine, and when I put it on top of Smalls, she ate it right up. After switching to Smalls, 88% of cat owners reported overall health improvements. That's a big deal. And the team at Smalls is so confident your cat will love their product, then you can try it risk-free. That means they will refund you if your cat won't eat their food. So make 2026 your cat's healthiest year yet. For a limited time, because you are a MeidasTouch listener, get 60% off your first order plus free shipping when you head to smalls.com/MeidasTouch. One last time, that's 60% off your first order plus free shipping when you head to smalls.com/MeidasTouch. Laura Ingraham is against him in this MAGA infighting and thinks somehow he's a liberal darling. Take a listen.
But now, well, Joe Kent is the liberal darling du jour, and it's all because he's turning on Donald Trump. Now, the former head of the National Counterterrorism Center is resigning over the Iran war.
The fact is, the folks on X, the MAGA folks, are the ones that are liking and sharing that resignation letter. Megyn Kelly, who has taken some really extreme positions, she tried really hard to defend Trump's alleged sexual abuse and others with Epstein, trying to say that somehow a rape of a 15-year-old was more okay. She has gone out of her way to try to defend Trump. But evidently, she sees the writing on the wall and she's picking a side, and that side is not Trump. She said, you want to rip the GOP apart right to its core and prevent a single America First voter from participating in the midterms? Indict Joe Kent and Tucker Carlson. See how that works out. Well, for those of us who actually would like the GOP to be ripped apart at its core because of it continually starting illegal wars and illegal actions and flouting the Constitution, think that perhaps the GOP does need to be completely remade. Don't mind the fact that Trump didn't seem to heed Megyn Kelly's warning, and instead the FBI is opening up an investigation into Joe Kent for evidently leaking classified material. And according to sources that told CBS News, the Barry Weiss now head of CBS News, that seems to not be perhaps as accurate as always, says that this investigation started before he resigned. And again, perhaps that's true or perhaps it's not. Either way, it is creating this kind of MAGA war. Megyn Kelly, of all people who have since then defended Trump at all costs, is saying that this is going to rip the GOP apart, going after Tucker Carlson and Joe Kent, which it seems as if Trump is. So she is pitting herself against Laura Ingraham. So the MAGA positions are getting solidified. The MAGA groups are getting in their corners and slinging their shots. J.D. Vance, not wanting to be left out of this situation, said kind of something in defense of Joe Kent, said, well, quote, no one likes war. apparently reading the writing on the wall that this war is extremely unpopular and might hurt his 2028 chances. He's, of course, trying to take no position, but yet a position that might help him. So he seems to be leaning toward Megyn Kelly's decision, but not quite there yet, because as we know, J.D. Vance is not a great politician and probably changes his mind, as we know, left and right about Trump, and will change his mind about this war as well. But for now, this Trump unwillingness to get criticism from people like Tucker Carlson, from Joe Kent, instead of trying to convince the Republicans and MAGA why those figures are wrong, instead seems to be weaponizing the power of the government against them, creating havoc within the GOP and perhaps ripping it to its core. If you haven't yet subscribed to the MeidasTouch Network, be sure to do that. Follow the Mistrial Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Be sure to check out our sponsors in the description below. So grateful for our sponsors and the fact that they do not censor us, which is so critical in this moment.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.